are two, I guess you could say, starting weapons when it comes to Wing Chun, period. One's gonna be for the hands, one's gonna be for the foot. So for the feet, if I could scoot back here, it's Jing Gurk, and it's done just like this. It's planting the heel out there into the surface area wherever I'm hitting. And of course, I'm not going no higher than the certain level of the stomach on down. I don't want my foot getting caught by the opponent or whatever the case may be. It's a firm plant into the opponent, and I may have a goal from that point. And most of the kicks,
What?
Most of the kicks in Wing Chun is based upon the picking up, the pushing in, or the sitting down of a front kick being done. So if you take all of what I just said, you can almost break down all 8 kicks when it comes to Wing Chun kicking as far as the action is concerned. Because that's the action 8 kicks, but then there's the Sao hands versus Gurk defending legs of the 8 kicks. I don't know if that makes any sense, but here you got a front kick, that's more of an action kick, right? But to have this leg come up and do that, that's Tan Sao.
Yeah.
It's more pointed upwards or whatever.
Okay.
But see what I'm getting at? So in that, there's 8 of that kicking, 8 main guards of the legs, just like this. Really a main 8 Sao hands and 8 attacks with the hands. So, and a lot of it's based on how they just line up with each other and for what reason, right? So you have to explore on that level. If you explore the system like that and break it down, you'll learn this system way faster than most normal people if you just have that understanding. 8, 8, 8, and 8. So in this, the first of the 8 when it comes to the hands is punch. Now, I'm gonna bring Kellen up close. When punching, we're using the last 3 knuckles, okay? Now, why not the first 2? It's because you can use the first 2, but you have to realize and forget saying this is Wing Chun. Let's throw Wing Chun out for a second. Let's talk science. Pure 100% science. The knuckle of the mid knuckle, the middle knuckle, is usually bigger than the first knuckle. There's quite a dip from the middle knuckle to the first knuckle. But if you look at the middle knuckle on down with the ring knuckle and the pinky, it's more of an incline. On most people's hands, unless you injured it, unless whatever the case may be, your last 3 knuckles does more of an incline with each other. So they're going to work together. On the other hand, the first 2, I don't know if y'all can see this, but right in this point, there's a little bubble right here. That's my fracture. That is a fracture I have used from using what we like to call boxing or karate hand type punching. Most boxers, pro boxers even, if you was to ask them, they will tell you they have a fractured hand. Usually both hands. And it's because of the training of those first 2 knuckles. as most people that are in karate and other martial arts, they're going to tell you, yes, I fractured my hand. So sometimes I hate that people are so, sometimes they'll be so against a certain martial art, they just don't see the science and idea behind a hand. Something so simple. Don't worry about Wing Chun, don't worry about Taekwondo, don't worry about any of these martial arts. Go pick up a book on anatomy, a college book on anatomy. Go to your doctor and ask questions. They'll tell you, those last 3 knuckles, if I was gonna punch, would be more suitable because I have a less chance of fracturing the hand than I would if I do the first 2. That is up to you. So that, and if I've already fractured my hand, I hope that from this video, I am the last person to have to fracture their hands. So what is a Sifu for real? Someone who's made all the mistakes, has taken all the injuries, has done all the bloodshed, whether it's their own blood or somebody else's, and all of that, so that the students don't have to. That's goals right there. That's your life hack. So what it needs to be known about this punch is, and it's not saying you can't use the first 2, but if you use the first 2, he may bend it this way just a tiny bit to torque it. Okay? When most martial arts will say no, keep the hand straight, right? But if you keep the hand straight, you're going to hit more ring finger in the middle knuckle than anything, so you might as well work with the 3. It's just better. But if you're going to hit with the first 2, you can angle it, and then you can hit with the last 3, and that's called like a yin and yang fist type of punch. So he could try to hit me with the first 2 and hit, and it's not going to do much. But then when he hits with the last 3 in the same place, see the difference? And that hurt. Why did I tell him to hit in the same place? Because, okay, I don't know about any other race, but I'm going to have to tell it the way it is. When my mama whooped my ass, okay, what hurt worse than anything is if she pinpoint the same place where she whooped my ass with the last lick.
Hammer and nail.
Hammer and nail. And then she hit that same place with the next lick and the next lick. That's when you start tearing up. Ask any black person at the age of 42, my age and older, or whatever, about that. They will tell you about this life from, I'll say, about 35-ish, 34 on up. If you ever got your ass whooped, especially in a black family, you would know this.
Raised by my great grandma, fraternity paddle.
Fraternity, oh, I've had fraternity paddles, oh my God. And the babysitter's husband was a Q dog. Okay, so they know how to paddle. Anyway, but yes, like, so, you know, and then if you got a paddlers in school, they gonna hit the same cheek. They going gutter on that one. So I'm having them hit in the same place. Wing Chun will more than likely say, hey, if you already know you got this person injured in that place, why not take advantage of that situation? If that has to just make sense. It's sociological, psychological sense, right? With a little mix of brutality. So but that 3 knuckles right there, or whatever, is burying in my body. He's using 3 different strands of muscle in his arm that's gonna hit, versus if he used the first 2, he would only be using 2 strands in his arm, right? If you used to take your hand and try to line it up with your pinky, for example, and you move your pinky, you'll feel your muscle flex right there. You'll feel it. So that's what I mean by strands of muscle. You're putting more muscle, you're putting more work behind a punch, just understanding last 3 knuckles, okay? So we're talking, and going back, we're talking about Yak Ji Chun Choi. Sometimes in Wing Chun we just say Chun Choi. It's the sun character punch because you would have 2 lines going like this in a block, and it represents the sun. It's the sun character in Chinese culture, their language, okay? So he's punching me like this. Now, mind you, one thing we do different here, and this is where the video really takes off. Wing Chun, Jeet Kune Do, and anybody who's a Bruce Lee enthusiast,
You had it right first time.
Enthusiast, thank you. Sometimes I don't, look.
I get it.
I can be so Steve Harvey about this. Like, one of the things is, everybody's trying to get to this 1-inch punch and go from here, shoot, right? Here in my school, we start at 0. Why do we start at 0? Because everybody's focused on the punch. No one's focused on the elbow mechanics, the shoulder mechanics, how this thing comes out, how it plays a part in pushing the opponent even if they're just hitting. Because there's a distribution of weight and mass going on. Your body is 70% water, maybe more, maybe less, but you have water in your body, and you're a water dirt man. Man, that sounds so crazy.
I mean,
You're mud. Anyway, so you're moving that kind of mass, that kind of body weight, and plus you're trying to have it hurt somebody. So we're trying to do the dynamics and the mechanics of the punch first. You can hurt a person with a 0-inch punch just like you can rear back and hurt them. The only difference is distance and timing. So when he punched me like that one time and he hit that last 3 knuckles, you could tell I was being pushed back. When I'm still having him hit in the same place he hit earlier. Okay, so we're not playing with this at all. And actually, I'm gonna have him angle just a tiny bit so they can see. Oh yeah, we're going to town on this one.
right.
Now, if he hits with those first 2 knuckles, there's some movement. But with the last 3 knuckles, what's happening is his elbow's behind this now. At first, when he did this, or whatever, we're gonna have some kind of beard, but in this, there's not much elbow behind it. And plus his elbow's already dang near locked out. It's getting closer, already been done opening up. So when he punches with those first 2, he ain't got nothing.
You're kind of digging down because if you're trying to attack with them, you're trying to.
Right. So then, because he does with the last 3 knuckles, look at the extra oomph he has just right in here. And then his shoulder's gonna be rotating like this, like gears, okay? And then now he's going. And I'm not way back here, I'm touching the wall now. That's the difference. He's creating a whole new different parallel with the way he punches, okay? You can practice this at home with your friends. Look, I'm not responsible. In the very beginning of the video, there's a disclaimer. There we go. And I may try to make that disclaimer a whole lot shorter than my last videos I put on YouTube. Anyway.
And even old pugilism, the pre-boxing gloves, they were vertical fist.
Vertical fist, and sometimes they even like this. But then they practice vertical fist then.
Because that's where the twist came from.
Right.
So then the modern day twist was just that going a little further.
And almost every martial art has a vertical fist and a horizontal fist. Okay? Now, listen to what I'm about to say. We're talking about Yaiji Chung Choi. Yaiji Chung Choi is a vertical fist. But listen to my logic in this, because why? Because there's more than just one punch in Wing Chun, or more than one idea in Wing Chun. So I need people to understand this. If he decides to do a horizontal punch, just like any of you, I'm going to tell you, see, he's not going to have that elbow part. He's going to have the elbow part when he's about right here turning into, and he's going to make sure he's close enough that when he turns into, there's still enough left. He's going to want to hit with the last 3 knuckles. Now, that's not Wing Chun law. That's not whatever law. That's Chun Fa law. That's Hampton Hong law. If you're going to punch, last 3 knuckles. Let's save yourself injury. So, if he was to corkscrew that punch, like horizontal punch with the first 2 knuckles, go ahead. But with the last 3, not only did my body react harder, but I got knocked back further. There was no real difference. So, stay with the last 3 knuckles. I don't care what punch you're doing. There's even a punch where, I'm gonna show them. From right here, I will screw the punch. What happens with this is, in boxing, they will do screw punches to tear their skin so that they could get technical knockout victories. It was a trick, and you can get out of the fight faster. They made sure their gloves was rough. And they especially pick out parts where you didn't put that Vaseline on. Now your skin is, that's why a lot of fighters, they put that Vaseline on their face. If it's dry, you can get cut easier. So right here, it's not a pretty feeling at all.
It's like it's a drill.
It's a drill. So if he was, I want him to do that to me, I'm gonna take this off so he don't hurt himself. But if he just screwed it, it just kind of makes you like you're trying to wake up in the morning, but it don't feel so hot. You know, that's what that is. And don't let it be we got some chest hair. That's really gonna be a problem, okay? But that's the idea, okay? So whatever punch you do, no matter what, last 3 knuckles. That's gonna be this part of the video. We're gonna come back with another one, and I'm gonna come back to Chung Choi, but then I'm going to introduce something different.